Yes, it works a lot better if I hit the button.
That's right. And then people can hear what you say. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Bufnagle, the podcast, where we talk about all things good in the pursuit of the adventure of life. I'm Harry. I am returning again. I don't know if I'm a co-host at this point, or an intermediary host, or a gentle reprieve for Rafe as he takes a breath throughout all of his soliloquies as he speaks. But how are you doing?
Hey, I'm good. You are formally the co-host, and on occasion you have familial responsibilities that take you away. So, hey, that happens. So it's
Yeah, I think it's rare that I sit down in this little office of mine for more than an hour a week.
Really.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they're the little ones keeping you busy, but your Christmas vacation is coming, I assume.
Yes, yeah, very soon, which will be 2 weeks, which is very nice.
Oh, that'll be great. So, well, you know what else is great, Harry? We have the world's best listeners because they have made us a global top 10% podcast. They know, and you know, and everybody else should know that they can reach us at bufnagle@bufnagle.com. Remember to share the love, share the buff, give us a 5-star review, hit subscribe, hit like, give us smiley stars or happy dances or whatever else that you give us. Tell a friend to listen, and you will get a free episode. Remember, there's a little link in the show notes there. You can buy me a coffee, or you can buy me a Christmas present. Heck, you could buy me a new car if you wanted. But we'll take whatever we can get, and that would be wonderful if you would do that sort of thing. Harry, we are stuck in the middle of, well, not even, we're at the beginning of winter, and it's starting to feel winterier.
It's not technically the beginning of winter. December 21st.
Well, but we are in we're not in, what would you call it, astronomical winter. But I would say we are in meteorological winter. It feels, I think December 1st, December, January, February are the winter months from everybody's perspective, except those people who are really diligent about when the solstice and equinoxes happen, I think. So that.
Yeah, they're usually a little bit too pedantic about their dates. So yes, I would agree. Yeah. We're probably in winter.
Yeah. And when we are in winter, I tend to refer to it as bleak midwinter. And I looked that up the other day, and I was wondering why I call it bleak midwinter. And the answer is because that's a line from it's a hymn, Harry, and it's a Christmas carol, and it is a poem. And I'm going to read you the poem, okay?
All right, yeah, go for it.
Okay. This was written a long time ago, back in the 1870s by Christina Rossetti. 1872, and she says, she calls it a Christmas carol. All right, and Dickens had a Christmas carol too, and we sing Christmas carols sometimes. But here's
like a time traveling poem, right?
Yes. Well, it is kind of a thing that goes. We will not be visited by three spirits during the reading of this poem, unless, well, maybe if you're unfortunate, you will be visited by one of them. Christina Rossetti, 1872. In the bleak midwinter, frosty wind made moan. Earth stood hard as iron, water like a stone. Snow had fallen, snow on snow, snow on snow, in the bleak midwinter long ago. Our God, heaven cannot hold him, nor earth sustain. Heaven and earth shall flee away when he comes to reign. In the bleak midwinter, a stable place sufficed, the Lord God Almighty, Jesus Christ. Enough for him whom cherubim worship night and day, a breast full of milk and a manger full of hay. Enough for him whom angels fall down before, an ox and ass and camel which adore. Angels and archangels may have gathered there, cherubim and seraphim thronged the air, but only his mother, in her maiden bliss, worshipped the beloved with a kiss. What can I give him, poor as I am? If I were a shepherd, I would bring a lamb. If I were a wise man, I would do my part. Yet what I can give him, give my heart. That is In the Bleak Midwinter by Christina Rossetti. And it is a Christmas carol, a lot like Dickens' Christmas carols thing. It has 5 staves, 5 little stanzas in there, just like Did you know that about Dickens in the Christmas Carol?
Mm-mm.
They are not chapters. They are not sub books. They are called staves, like a song, and that's how it's written. I looked up the word bleak because that seemed to me, I was looking, like last week was kind of a yucky week for us. It was snowy and windy, and it got cold here in central Indiana that we're not used to. And I looked up the word bleak, and exposed and barren and often windswept, cold, raw, lacking in warmth or kindness. And it also has another meaning, not likely to be favorably concluded. That's
Great.
a bleak outlook, right? Or severely simple. And I have three. I have three dictionaries, right, that I use on a regular basis. Did you know this?
No.
Okay. Well, I got a dictionary when I was in college, or when I graduated high school. I got a dictionary, so that was dated like
Is this
early
different than the
80s.
dictionary that you stole in high school?
Yes, okay. So that was more of a dare. Okay, so you know the story, right?
Oh, I know the story. The
Yeah,
listeners
okay,
don't know
okay.
the
So
story. I'm
they
enticing the story out of you right
okay.
now.
You
That's what
see,
I'm doing.
okay. So here's what happened. This is and you accuse me of going off of the show notes. Okay, so in high school, they decided that they were going to do this thing where they put the little um, the little sensor chips in every book, in the spine of every book. Okay, and then they put these detector things at the exit to the library. So you had to walk through the sensors with the little scanning thing, like at the hardware store, when you scan the thing.
Yeah.
And so they shut down the library for like a week, and they put a sensor chip in every that's where they told us every book in the library getting a sensor chip. And then if you tried to get the book out of the library, it would beep, and then Mrs. Pfeiffer would get mad at you, and she would make you bring it back. And so, of course, I took that as a challenge. How many books can I take out of the library with a sensor chip there? And so we did things like I would like set them like it wasn't it was not as well. How should I say it? Not as well locked down as airport security. Or, I mean,
Sure.
it was just
Yeah.
it's a high school library. It wasn't that we didn't have anything in there. And so I would take books and I would kind of like push them. Like I'd go right next to where the rope was, and I'd take it and I'd push it underneath the rope where nobody could really see it. And then I'd walk through and I'd pick it up on the other side, that kind of thing I would do. You could go out the back of the library through like the AV room and like these other secret offices and stuff. And you could pop out back somewhere else in the science hallway, or I forget exactly where it came out, but you could sneak out that way. And I got some books out that way. But my best, what would it be?
Steal, escapade.
Illegal appropriation of a book. I was reading I think we had an Oxford English dictionary. It's like 5 or 6 inches thick.
It's
Okay,
the one that's always open on the pedestal
Yeah.
that people just look at and like, oh, I wonder, flip to
I
a
wonder
red
what this word
page.
means. Yeah, and I'm going to look up that word. And I was at that book one day looking up some word like bleak, probably, and it suddenly came to my thought. There's no way they put. I know they didn't put a thing in this book because no one ever checks this book out. I mean, it's not even that's like they didn't put the little sensors on the chairs, Harry, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't put them on the pencil sharpener, and they didn't put them on. I don't know what else, the planter with or the whatever else was in the coffee maker in the back room. They didn't do any of that. So I figured there's no way they put a sensor in the Oxford English Dictionary. And I just closed it up and I put it in we didn't have backpacks back then. I just had a big stack of books that I always carried underneath my arm. And so I took the chance. I just put the books under my arm and I just walked right through the thing, and it didn't go off. I just stole the Oxford English Dictionary. And then I went and I pulled all the other books out of my locker and I returned them to the library. And I said, let me tell you all the ways you can break the system.
I'm sure they were thrilled.
Yeah, they weren't. I was, that was not a good thing to do. But anyway, I did steal the dictionary. But I do have 3 dictionaries here. I have one from 1960, one from 1980, one from like 93 or something like that. And what I find really interesting is to see how these words have changed and moved, and how when you look them up on the internet, you tend to get you get the current you get what current usage is. And I don't know if anybody else looks at the Oxford English Dictionary on a regular basis. I don't have one. I should probably get one, but I think you can go online and look it up, which is a good thing. But anyway, bleak sucks. Okay, that's the that's the thing. You don't want things to be bleak. But in college, I had to read. Did you ever read Bleak House? Did you read Dickens' Bleak House back on Dickens here?
I did not.
Okay, so Bleak House is this book, and it's like it's on my shelf here somewhere. That's how long it's been since I've read it. But it's really thick, and it is full Dickens with regard to description that is beyond compare. He is the master of describing gray fog. He describes gray fog in London in Bleak House. And so we were assigned reading this, Harry, freshman year in college. I think I told this story when Ginny was on the show because she was in the class, right? She would have known this. But we were supposed to read Bleak House, one of the 3 novels we read that semester, and I just never I couldn't do it.
You couldn't finish it. Yeah, you've told me.
Yes, I couldn't finish it, and I faked my way through the assignments and all that stuff. And then when I finished graduate school, I went back and I tried to read it a second time. And that was let's just say that met with the same failed outcome as the first time. Mm-hmm. And then about 10 years or 15 years after that, I tried to read it a third time, and I failed there again. And I just could never get through Bleak House. And I was telling this guy that I worked with, he was kind of a statistician, but he also had really broad interest in all sorts of things. And I told him I was assigned to read Bleak House in college, and he said, "Oh, Bleak House. Well, that's quite the story, isn't it?" I said, "Well, yeah, it is." And I told him this story that I tried to read it and failed, tried to read it and failed, tried to read it and failed. And he said, "So you never finished Bleak House?" I said, "No, I still haven't got through it." And he said, "You're the only person I know who's read that book properly." I said,
"Congrats, you did it."
Yeah. What do you mean? He goes, "Well, in the book, and this is the thing. There's this interminable court case that is always running. It's a subplot in the book. Because there's this. It's called Jarndyce versus Jarndyce, and they're fighting over the estate or the will or something. I don't even remember what it is, but all the way through the book, the court case is always moaning in the background, kind of like that note in a bagpipe song. That's Jarndyce versus Jarndyce going all the way through the story. Oops, I knocked my ruler off the table. And it's always going through the story. And what happens is as the court case goes on and on, year after year after year after year, it just drains all the life and all the energy out of the estate. And essentially there's nothing left at the end. And he told me, he said, the court case is a metaphor for the book. Okay. The court case
just drains you by reading it.
Right. And the court case never ends. It just never gets over. And he said, if you want to read Bleak House properly, you have to do it the way you did it, which is never finish it, because the court case never finishes. And that's the same thing. So
did you beat the book, I guess?
I don't know, because I still don't know what happened. I talked to Faith Moore, who was on, and she has her Storytime for Grown-Ups podcast, which is a great podcast. And she's currently reading Dickens' Christmas Carol, because it's Christmas time.
Oh, she's not Bleak House.
No, she's not. I asked if she would. She said that's one of her favorite Dickens ones. And I said, I can't believe that. It's interminable.
Bleak.
It is very bleak. So anyway, we talked about Bleak House a little bit, but the Bleak Midwinter poem that I just treated you with is that's been put to music at least twice as a hymn. Okay, once by our friend Gustav Holst, the guy who wrote The Planets. Yep, and he has a number of his melodies have been turned into hymns. All right, and another by a guy named Harold Darke, or Darke. I don't know. It's Darke, and I don't know if you pronounce the E at the end. Now, he was an organist in London at St. Michael's in Cornhill. And I don't know where that is. I'm not in London. All right. If I were in London, I probably would have read Bleak House. Right. But in 1916, this guy started doing weekly Monday noon recitals.
Because nothing says Monday like a noon recital.
Well, in London, at St. Michael's
Probably because
Church
people are
there.
getting
Okay,
bored of reading Bleak House.
they've been doing this is the longest continual organ recital ongoing concert thing. It's still going every Monday. Every Monday they do this. Okay, now this guy's dead now. Okay, so he started in 1916, and he was, and he went for 50 years, from 1916 to 1966. He was followed by a guy named Richard Popplewell from 66 to 79, 13 years. Come on, give me a break. First guy went 50, okay? Followed by the present guy, a guy named Jonathan Rennert from 1979 to the present. So the first guy went 50 years. The second guy went 13. The third guy, we're only on the third guy here. It's been 108 years. We're only on the third organist guy.
It's like a great monarchy.
Yes, it is. And that's been 46 years. Now, this is where it gets interesting for me, because you start, this is the wonder of, I tell you, Harry, we live, this episode started with, man, it's bleak here in the winter, and it's terrible, and it's dark, and bleak sucks. But it turned into one of these things that is, I find joyously fun. All right, so this guy Rennert studied under Popplewell, the guy who was organist before him. He studied there, of course, right? And he also studied under a guy named William Lloyd Webber. Now, it's not Lloyd like in the Lego movie. It's just William Lloyd. William Lloyd Webber. Okay, and you might have heard of Andrew Lloyd Webber, who is the guy who did Cats and Superstar and Phantom and Evita and Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat and all those other ones. And Andrew Lloyd Webber pretty much he reinvigorated and brought back the musical in the 70s and 80s. And so Andrew Lloyd Webber and this guy who's now the organist dude who's following up with Dark's Monday recitals. They're like buddies. They both studied under
Lloyd Webber's father.
Yeah. So anyway, this is what you can get if you just click on those links in the Wikipedia thing as you're digging around.
We call these rabbit holes.
Yeah, these are rabbit holes. This is one of those rabbit hole episodes that because none of our other episodes are rabbit.
We never get distracted. Everything is exactly according to plan.
But okay, so but I was thinking this though, because we are in the middle of what I'm calling bleak midwinter. And winter
I would say it's hardly bleak.
Well, it's not really bleak, but I live I have a warm house, Harry. I have a car I get to drive. The electricity tends to stay on. We have food to eat. My kids aren't dying of scurvy. It's things are going pretty well. But I'm thinking about this because in the bleak midwinter, he talks about how the winter was bleak, but then Jesus came with Christmas is really what the story says. And
you said Jesus came with Christmas, and in my mind, I've got a picture of baby Jesus like hauling Santa's presents on his back.
Yeah, well, he came bearing Christmas. Yes, it was really good. What was life like in the middle of winter when the days are short, it is cold, and the sun might come up at 8 a.m. and set by 4. You have 16 hours of darkness.
We can ask our friends on endurance and how that worked for them.
Yeah, well, but they had one thing. They had the hope that comes with Christmas, right? They had Christmas. They had I'm trying to figure out what would be in your head without the hope that comes from Christmas? How would you get through anything without hope? That's an open question to you. That's what would it do? Now you're looking all hopeless. You're looking all hopeless.
I don't have an answer.
Life without Christmas would be what do? You would be one of these nihilistic, you're born, you live, and you die, and that's it. And that's got to be a really empty, kind of hollow way to see things. But I think if we have a podcast about all things good in the pursuit of the adventure of life, this idea that there is a Christmas and that there is redemption on the other side, if you can make it go right, then that you have been granted this gift, Harry, this gift that you don't deserve, right? I mean, isn't that the whole thing with Santa Claus, right? Do you tell your kids about Santa? Is there a Santa thing in your house?
There's a Santa thing, yeah. And you're always saying like, you got to be good. You are
Yeah.
deserving. Now, granted, there's the whole thing of Scotty thinks that whenever we go to any store, that automatically equates to getting a present.
Oh, okay.
So there's
Well, she'll figure that.
undeserving, but
I saw a video, a little online video called Calvinist Santa, and where's my little? Oh, aren't you such a beautiful little embodiment of depravity? And these kids are like, I would like this and that, and he's like, oh, you just want worldly goods, right? Well, of course you do, because you are not worthy of anything else, And it was just depressing, which was kind of funny. But I think you should tell kids you should have Christmas with Santa. There should be. It's okay. Mm-hmm. I guess I'll say it this way: if you want to be one of these people that says, "Well, I never want to lie to my kid," I was like, "Well, okay, well." I think sometimes there are things that you can justify. I'm not going to say lying to the kid, but there are things that the kid doesn't need to know. I mean, you don't tell the kid everything.
Sure. We started doing like the little elf on the shelf thing this year.
Oh, you did?
And we are not doing the elf on the shelf is a mischievous lunatic.
Right.
Because that's just awful. And I think it teaches the kids the wrong thing. But the general story is the elf is Santa's super secret spy. And he comes every single day and reports back to Santa. And you can't touch him because he's going to lose his magic, but he'll be there every morning. You got to find him. He's probably in a new space. Every once in a while, the elf for the Feast of St. Nick came with a couple of gifts. Mm-hmm. And a couple of other times he has shown up with little Hershey's Kisses or something.
All right. Well,
but it's there, and he reports back to Santa Claus every single day and says how things are going.
All right. Well, I don't think that's really a problem. You tend to get, I think you'd have to be, and maybe it was different back in the day. You'd have to be pretty bad to not get a Christmas present, or to get coal in your stocking, that sort of thing.
Well, to be fair, Scotty has now realized that there are things where she can win competitions. Okay. So if you're first place, you get a trophy. Mm-hmm. If you don't get first place, you get a rock.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is this something they're doing, or something you decided to give them a rock?
I think I mentioned it once, and she latched onto it.
Oh, you get a rock. Okay.
All right, you get a rock. All right. Yeah. Okay.
Well, but it's okay. Like Christmas, if you go back, we have some Christmas episodes early in the podcast a couple of years ago, and you can go dust those off. But I think if you tell kids about Christmas, you're telling them that sometimes you get a gift that comes just because you are loved. That's why. That's the only reason. And I think that's the whole Christmas lesson. Isn't that what John says? God so loved the world, he sent his only begotten son. There you go. That's why you get this gift, even though you don't deserve it. And Santa kind of represents that. It's a representation of
materialistic.
Yeah. And no, it's turned into all sorts of things. You can get sexy Santa elf costumes, and you can get it can get bizarre, right? But the idea that sometimes you get a gift just because you are loved is that's a truth. That is a true thing. And if Santa embodies that idea, then Santa's real. And is there a guy that's actually running around on a sleigh and comes down your chimney? No, that's not a guy. First of all, it's not a guy. It's an elf, right? He's a jolly old elf. He's got miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeers. Remember, we've done this before, right? That's one of the old episodes too. But he is a representation. He's a fictional representation of a truth, and I think that's a good thing. So anyway, that brings me. Okay. That brings me to Christmas songs, or even Advent songs, depending if we want to get whether we're thinking of lining up to it or actually when we get to them. And I have 4. 1, 2. Where are they? 3, 4, 3 or 4. I forget how to do it. Well, that are high on my list of great Christmas songs. Do you have any that are high on your list? Because I have them and I wrote them down here in the notes.
Oh, of course you did. You would have to give me a little bit more time. Now, granted, for the listeners, I think Rafe gave me this list of notes 2 or 3 days ago.
Oh no, it wasn't that long ago.
Oh no, yesterday. Sorry,
It was yesterday. Well, but we were both of us were busy doing other things, and then you spent all day at work, and then and now we're recording. So
yeah. So I've had
that's
plenty
okay.
of time to prep.
Yeah. But that's part of the joy of the show, Harry, is that as I get notes and you are always kind of uncertain where we're going to go, and that's what gives it the charm. That's the charm.
That's what gives everyone hope of how they can get through the podcast.
Okay. It is 4 songs. Okay. One of the I guess I'll call it a secular Christmas song, but it's still a great Christmas song either way, is Sleigh Ride. Sleigh Ride.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, that one. Okay. It's lovely weather for a sleigh ride together with you. One of the great lyrics of all time. And giddy
Not
up,
baby,
giddy
it's
up,
cold
giddy up,
outside.
let's go. Hey, that's a great song too. That is a great, great song, but it's a different kind of song. It's a different kind of song. That's a great song. So Sleigh Ride is up there. And then obviously, Oh Holy Night is one of the all-time classics. Certainly if it's done very well. It has to be done, but it has to be done with real reverence. Long lay the world in sin and error pining till he appeared and the soul felt its worth, a thrill of hope. The weary world rejoices, for yonder breaks a new and glorious morn. Fall on your knees. O hear the angel voices, O night divine, O night when Christ was born. That's the thrill of hope. I meant there's like the soul, the world lays in sin and in error pining. It's like everything is bleak. That's the bleak midwinter.
Everything is bleak. Yes.
Okay, that is bleak. All right. Until what? Till he appeared and the soul felt its worth. You are worthy. A thrill of hope. It's this beam of light that comes out of nowhere.
I was going to say it's very pointed. Yeah.
Oh, and it comes right, boom, and it hits you, and it changes everything. Everything gets changed with the Christmas, with knowledge of the Christmas. And how do you do winter without Christmas? Well, we don't have to anymore. We have that. The weary world rejoices, for yonder breaks a new and glorious morn. I think those are just great lyrics. That's as good as it gets. And then if it's done really, really well by some very, very good singer with a great orchestra behind him or her, it is one of the all-time wonderful Christmas songs. Okay, so those are the first 2. Okay. And the other 2 are rather, they're more less well known, I guess. Okay. And the first one is it's called Cradle in Bethlehem. Have you heard that? You've heard that
I'm sure I have.
Yeah. Okay. And this was done in the 50s or 60s. It reached kind of pop music status with Nat King Cole when he did this one. Okay. Sing sweet and low your lullaby till angels say amen. A mother tonight is rocking a cradle in Bethlehem. While wise men follow through the dark, a star that beckons them, a mother tonight is rocking a cradle in Bethlehem. A little child shall lead them, the prophet said of old. In storm and tempest keep them until the bell is tolled. Sing sweet and low your lullaby till angels say amen. A mother tonight is rocking a cradle in Bethlehem. And it's Nat King Cole, which is like, he's got a voice like hot cocoa. All right. I mean, this is so smooth and so good. And it doesn't get, if you can only buy one Christmas album, it's got to be Nat King Cole's Christmas album.
Yeah, that's true.
That guy just ruled the world with that stuff. And then the last one I have, this one is interesting because I first heard this one only as an instrumental on one of those Google stations or an Amazon station or a Netflix station, whatever, where you can just get, where you get music, and you say, play me Christmas songs. And the next thing you know, you get 600 Christmas songs. There's like 10 Christmas songs, but 600 versions of those 10 Christmas songs.
Yep.
Right. And this is this was the version I heard was a piano version by a man named Paul Cardell, who was very interesting. You can read his biography. We're not going to go into that one, but Paul
You don't want
Cardell.
to go down another rabbit
Well, I
hole?
did go down the rabbit hole, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to do it here. What's interesting to me is the song is called "Still, Still, Still," and apparently it's an Austrian hymn. And I've dug all over the internet trying to find the lyrics. Now, notice the definite article, the lyrics. I found no fewer than 5 versions in English, and I found some German versions, some German verses that I can run through the translator. But then I found like other versions of this song by different people have different verses, and I don't know which ones are the right ones. But the song is beautiful, and I'll put the song. The song will be in the bumper music to this episode. I'll borrow that from for it. We can't talk about a song if we don't tell you what it is, right? So
Yeah,
we use fair use doctrine there. All right, and some of the lyrics, some of the verses go like this: "Still, still, still, one can hear the falling snow. For all is hushed, the world is sleeping. Holy star, its vigil keeping. Still, 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 one can hear the falling snow." And that one, if you've heard this version by Paul Cardell, and the other versions too are just as good, unless it's Schroeder on the toy piano, and some deliberately bad heavy metal band. Harry, you can hear falling snow.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
By the absence of sound.
Well, if you listen carefully, you can hear it. It kind of crunches, especially if it crunches or it crystallizes and kind of gives this.
Yeah, there's a little white noise in there, right? Yep. But the other thing it does is it blocks so much other noise that if you wake up in the morning, regular morning in the winter, and it's really, really quiet, you're like, oh, it's snowing. And and that's the sound. And still says one can hear the falling snow. Next verse, sleep, sleep, sleep. 'Tis the eve of our Savior's birth. The night is peaceful all around you. Close your eyes, let sleep surround you. Sleep, sleep, sleep. 'Tis the eve of our Savior's birth. Dream, dream, dream of the joyous day to come, while guardian angels without number watch you as you sweetly slumber. Dream, dream, dream of the joyous day to come. And then there's some other verses that I found, just bunches of them. Still, 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 he sleeps this night so chill, the virgin's tender arms enfolding, warm and safe, the child are holding. Still, 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 he sleeps this night so chill. Sleep, 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 he lies in slumber deep, while angel hosts from heaven come winging, sweetest songs of joy are singing. Sleep, 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 he lies in slumber deep. And then I found some German ones, which I don't read German, and we couldn't get Luke on here in short notice. but you can translate these to other verses that don't really match the ones I've given you. So there's like at least 10 different kinds of verses, and one of them is a little bit no. I've heard that there's secular verses, but none of these are really secular. You can hear the falling snow, but that still has a holy star keeping its vigil. So it's I don't know. Still, still, still is one of my new all-time favorite Christmas songs.
I thought of one while we were doing things and researching things, and it's Joseph's song.
Oh, okay. Bring it on, man.
And you know this one.
Do I?
Yes, you did. We heard
it. Okay, remind me.
You do. We heard it, I think, every single Christmas Mass we went to after communion, sung by our cantor.
Well, so wait. Our cantor in Nashville, right?
In Nashville, yeah.
And for what it's worth, the cantors in Music City are top notch.
Yes, yep.
Every church you go to has somebody who is like, oh, I didn't know you have how many albums?
Yes.
We get free concerts every week.
I remember listening to this song growing up, and you kind of listen to the lyrics and you think they're very, very nice lyrics. And I think every single father in church was teary-eyed.
Yeah.
I think it was impossible to get through without crying.
Yep.
And then I heard this song. So Scotty was born December 20th, and Christmas Eve, our Christmas Eve dinner was Burger King. And I
Nice.
listened to this song while driving to Burger King and crying.
Yeah.
So the lyrics are, "How could it be, this baby in my arms, sleeping now so peacefully? The Son of God," the angel said, "how could it be? Lord, I know he's not my own, not of my flesh, not of my bone. Still, Father, let this baby be the son of my love. Father, show me where I fit into this plan of yours. How can a man be the father to the Son of God? Lord, for all my life I've been a simple carpenter. How can I raise a king? How can I raise a king? He looks so small, his face and hands so fair. And when he cries, the sun just seems to disappear. But when he laughs, it shines again. How could it be?"
That is that, and like I said, there's another one, right? That when it's done by the right person in the right context, and it is one of the great joys of the world we're in is that we have all these wonderful songs, and Silent Night is one of those songs that has a great history and can be done very, very well, and evokes that nostalgia kind of thing, that feeling that you get that somehow something is different now. The idea that this thrill of hope, the weary world rejoices. And, I tend to use that phraseology too often. Right? I said my brain is filled with movie quotes and song lyrics. And that is, that's one that's always there, that thrill of hope, that idea that somehow something new has come in. That is, all of these songs do that. Sleigh Ride's a little bit different, but that's kind of it's the joy of the winter. It's the thing that you get out of that. So life without Christmas would be, well, it just wouldn't be as much fun, I don't think.
No, I definitely agree. There's one part of your show notes that you didn't go over.
Oh, are you going to point this out to me?
I am going to point it out to you.
Yeah.
And actually, I'll turn it on its head because I'm going to ask you instead of you asking me.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
All right, so it's a set of questions, and you can talk about any one of them or all of them or none of them. Christmas memories. Why does Christmas bring nostalgia?
Mm-hmm.
How do you do Christmas and do winter? How do you do Christmas and winter and nostalgia within that?
Well, I think, okay, so I'm going to kind of address these all together. Christmas memories. Okay, so I was born in 1965, so my consciousness begins in the decade of the 1970s. And if you go to Google, I'll bet this is a thing. You type weather in the 1970s. And it will be pictures of like Pontiac Bonnevilles stuck in gigantic snowdrifts and stuff like that. And it was terrible. Winter was just brutal every year, monster snowstorms and blizzards but as a kid,
It's the best time of the year.
well, okay, as a kid who lived a very safe, very easy childhood. I mean, I will not pretend that I had anything close to any sort of. It was perfect. I mean, I didn't have any diseases. Nobody I knew died. There was never any problems. I mean, anything that happened was outside of me. I mean, I just got up in the morning. I played with the model trains in the basement. We built snow forts in the afternoon. We rode our bikes around. I mean, it was like, I never wanted that to end, and that's why it hasn't ever ended. But when I think about like, how do you do winter and how do you do Christmas? Well, I know people, I'm going to say up north because I live in Indiana now, and that's still quite a bit south from my friends in Wisconsin, and certainly northern Wisconsin, where it's a winter wonderland up there, and all those other places too. Everywhere up 45th parallel and above, it is winter is its own season with special things, and whether that means snowshoeing or Harry, we used to have parties on the pond in late January. We'd grill out on the pond. We'd get a guy had a pickup with a snowplow in the front. We'd plow off the pond and we'd skate and we'd grill and we'd have all afternoon. And then the sun would set about 3:45.
Yeah.
And then we'd have sodas and because we were kids, and we would, go on, and then it got cold, really, really cold, and we go inside and light the fire in the fireplace and in the wood stove, and it was just like, it was like real life. It was we did real things. And yeah, sometimes people got stuck in snowdrifts, and somebody would make a phone call, or somebody would show up at your house and say, "Hey, I got stuck in this snowdrift. Can you help me out?" And it was like, it was a real life kind of thing. And I think that's how you do winter, is you make it, you have to make it real. And that means, it's going to be cold in the house when you wake up in the morning. Mm-hmm. And what you do is you break the cold. You turn the furnace on, you fire up the fireplace, you do whatever you have to do to fight back on that in a real life way. And you do Christmas the same way. You do it intentionally. And Christmas starts way, 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 way back at the beginning of Advent, and you have to prep it. And I think the way to do Christmas well is to try to do Advent well, and focus on hey, everybody loves presents, and I love presents, and I love good food, and I love candy and cookies and all the other stuff, the trappings that come with it. But I think that the thing to do is at its heart, it is Christ Mass. And there's a reason for that. There's a thrill of hope, and a weary world rejoices. It's a religious thing, and you have to fully appreciate that. Watch The Grinch. The Grinch is one of the great Christian allegories of all time. It is great. The Who's down in Whoville, they were singing, right? They sing. They have no Christmas left. From the Grinch's point of view, they have no Christmas left, but they're singing. How could that be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags. And his heart grows 3 sizes that day. He gets the thrill of hope. And he the Grinch himself carves the roast beast. He becomes part of that thing. He goes through the Christmas transformation. I think to do Christmas, you do it intentionally. You start with Advent. You fight your way through Advent. It might be the Advent calendar. It's lighting the little candles on the wreath. It is wearing the Christmas sweater. It's having the Christmas concert at the school. It's crunching through the snow. But it's a deliberate, intentional thing to do. And you do Christmas like you do winter. You have to do it deliberately, or you can't do it at all. And so that's why does it do nostalgia? I think it does because it harkens back to when we were children, and we all want to be children again. And all of those songs point to that innocence and that wonderfulness that I come upstairs from playing in the basement, and there's supper on the table. There's a fire in the fireplace, and it was just great. I mean, who doesn't love being a kid? Now, granted, some kids don't have that, and that's why that's why there's so much effort to bring, to bring Christmas to the kids, right? What do they do with that? I know in Tennessee, the Tennessee Titans have, what do they call it? The field of toys or something. Like, you can bring toys to the stadium. They cover the entire football field with donated toys. And it's like, you say what you want about millionaire football players and football, and you know what? It's a great thing that football happens and it wraps up in the wintertime. It is a wonderful thing. And Christmas is a part of everything. And at its heart, it is a thrill of hope, and a weary world rejoices. That's what I think.
Well, I don't think I can say it any better than that. I'll give our listeners something to ponder upon. I believe you've done that well for them. But then I will also remind everyone to seek the good, live virtuously, and flourish, and enjoy the adventure of life. It's going to be a great day.